I'm just going to start the press conference. It's like meeting you all participating here in this event. I'm going to tell you something about the human rights violation of Pashtuns by the Pakistan Army. First, let me tell you something about the Pashtuns. Pashtuns are it's approximately 70 million people living on both sides of the so-called Durand line. In Afghanistan, Pashtuns are in majority. It's makes the 60% of the population in Afghanistan. In Pakistan, it's the second largest nationality, up to 50 million people in Pakistan. Pashtuns are living. In the Pashtun Tahaffuz Movement or Pashtun Protection Movement, it's a social and human right organization which is protecting the Pashtun rights in particular and human rights in Pakistan in general. So let me tell you first how the Pashtun Protection Movement came into existence. During the Cold War and later after 9/11, Pashtun living on both sides of the Pakistan and Afghanistan border, known as Durand Line, have been the victim of war. After the fall of Soviet Union, US and allies led the rebellious Mujahideen in the hands of Pakistan, who then started their strategic depth policy to control Afghanistan. You may know what the strategic depth policy means. Pakistan started funding Mujahideen and later Taliban, and anyone resisting and raising voice for basic human rights were killed. More recently, under the pretext of war on terror, Pakistan Army played a role while taking aid from the US and allies for war against terror, but in reality they were financing and training Taliban. Pakistan Army militarized Pashtun society and religious extremism was systematically injected. Taliban were given free hand in Swat. They then fought in the whole of Pashtun region to spread extremism and terror. Fata, Swat, Quetta, and other Pashtun regions, which were peaceful and liberal societies, were turned into fanatic and extremists by the paid actors of Pakistan Army. Mullah Fazlullah of Swat was running FM radio for 2 years from 2007 to 2009, challenging the state authority, killing innocent Pashtuns, and banning girls' schools, but Pakistan Army never took any action. On one side, Pashtun were killed by terrorists, and on the other side, Pakistan Army was conducting number of fake military operations, killing innocent Pashtuns, and getting aid from the US and allies. According to US authorities, Pakistan Army received $33.4 billion from US between 2000 to 2017 to fight terrorism. Trump also had a very famous tweet on this issue. Some 15 offensive military operations were conducted in Waziristan, Swat, Bajawal, Kuram, Quetta, and other Pashtun areas, but the army completely failed to bring peace for the obvious reason as Pakistan Army considered Taliban as their strategic asset. And well, let me tell you that even the Pakistani President, General Pervez Musharraf himself admitted that Taliban are their strategic assets. Not only Taliban, but Al-Qaeda and all other terrorist organizations on Pakistani soil, they are their strategic assets. They enforced disappearances is systematically used as a tool for oppressing public in these areas. These military operations also resulted in over 3.5 million Pashtun refugees, and still we have refugees camps in Pakhtunkhwa where the people are living in very miserable conditions. In Bakakhel camp, there in Bunu, there is a camp, Bakakhel camp, and the refugees from are living there. Children are dying there, and well, there are no any facilities in these camps. Pashtun are racially profiled and labeled as terrorists. Naqibullah Masood, an aspiring young Pashtun model, was killed in a fake police encounter and labeled as terrorist in Karachi in January 2018. This marked a boiling point for Pashtuns, and as a result, Pashtuns throughout the country started protesting. A Pashtun long march started from D.I. Khan on the call of 25 years old charismatic leader Manzoor Ahmad Pashtun. This was when Pashtun Tahaffuz Movement came into existence. PTM is an anti-war human rights movement through which Manzoor Ahmad Pashtun raised his peaceful voice against the wicked Pakistan army. This voice has been echoed in the form by millions of people, not only in Pakhtunkhwa in Pakistan, but also human rights activists, intellectuals, and peace-loving people all around the world. PTM demand human and constitutional rights for Pashtuns, guaranteed not only by Pakistani Constitution, but United Nations Human Rights Conventions in European Union. Freedom of speech in movement is secured not only by Pakistani Constitution Article 15, but also under the Article 13 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948. Pashtun in Pakistan are exempt from freedom of speech in movement, especially after the emergence of PTM, when it started a countrywide peaceful long marches. Head of PTM, Manzoor Ahmad Pashtun, has been banned once in the province of Sindh, and now his interest is banned in Balochistan. On 10 December 2018, when Pashtun flew to Quetta to attend Baloch missing persons camp, but was denied entry to the province. Similarly, renowned women rights activist in PTM supporter Gulali Ismail has been put on exile control list, which ban her to travel abroad. Pakistan Army spokesperson DG ISPR Major General Asif Ghafoor, in a crowded press conference in Islamabad, openly threatened PTM and said, "Your time is up." We then see Kharqamar accident and crackdown on PTM leaders and activists. I will come to the Kharqamar accidents later. And estimated that they enforce what PTM wants. It's also end to the enforced disappearances. So an estimated 32,000 persons, including women, are missing, in their whereabouts is still unknown. Pakistan Army has been acting over and above the law and has forcefully disappeared innocent civilians. According to the ex-Home Minister Aftab Sherpao, an estimated 4,000 people has been in the custody of authorities in 2005, but only 200 have been presented to courts, while the rest whereabouts is still unknown. It is very old estimates, and now the estimate has been raised. Now we say that 32,000 people are missing in Pakistan. PTM volunteers, headed by human rights activist Alamzeb Masood, started to gather data of enforced disappeared persons. He gathered data of about 1,700 missing persons, including their name, ID, numbers, addresses, and date of abductions through self-help. These all forcefully disappeared persons have been abducted by Pakistan security agencies, either from their homes, in front of their family members, or at workplaces, or from the streets on bright daylight, but their whereabouts is still unknown. While Alamzeb Masood exposed Pakistan security agencies' involvement in enforced disappearances, he was therefore abducted on 21st January 2019 in Karachi and ironically charged in a trial by anti-terrorist courts. He is still in prison. Alamzeb Masood is still in prison, and it's ironic because he was investigating the enforced disappearance people, and he gathered a lot of information, but well, he's in prison. International media and human rights organization, including Amnesty International, has asked for the immediate release of Alamzeb Masood, yet he is treated as terrorist by Pakistan security agencies. Many of these missing persons who died in the torture cell of Pakistan Army without facing court of law and family members. Barira Yusufzai, daughter of Nawab Ali Khan Yusufzai, made thousands cried in PTM Swat public gathering on 29th April 2018 when she informed the public as how her father was abducted and later died because of the torture. In May 2009, the second battle of Swat, called as Operation Radurast by Pakistan Army, was conducted over the control of the area. According to the conservative figures, over 3,100 people were killed, including women and children. Thousands more were wounded, and over 2 million people were displaced who had to live in refugee camps. After this huge loss, the army could not capture or kill Taliban leaders, including Mullah Fazlullah, and they escaped. But some sources say that they are under the custody of Pakistan Army, as one of the founders of Pakistani Taliban and father-in-law of Mullah Fazlullah, Sufi Muhammad, was released from prison on 10 January 2018 by Pakistan Army, which was widely criticized. After the operation, activists like Malala Yousafzai and Barira's father Nawab Ali Khan Yousafzai, a bank manager by profession, started criticizing Pakistan Army and security agencies' role in the weaponization and Talibanization of the area. Thousands of activists, including Nawab Ali Khan, were kidnapped by Pakistan security agencies. In the beginning, Barira and her family were even not aware of Nawab Ali Khan's whereabouts, but later they found out that he is in custody of Pakistan Army. Barira and her family were not allowed to see him. Every story of these missing Pashtun children will make you cry. PTM demand to present these missing persons to court of law, for which Pakistan Army has announced a war against us. Another demand of the PTM is the landmines. The Pakistan Army planted landmines in the then FATA agencies of Waziristan, Bajawal, Kuram, and other areas to combat terrorists. But in reality, innocent children, women, and animals has been the victim of these landmines. Pakistan Army, at the end of every military operations, claimed that the area is clear from terrorists and landmines, but landmine explosions are still happening. Day before yesterday, two children died because of these landmines in the area, in Waziristan. One of the heartbroken accidents of landmine was on 12 December 2018 when 12-year-old Muhammad Afzal and his brother Muhammad Umar were caught in a landmine blast. The incident took place in Khan Court area of South Waziristan. Muhammad Afzal got seriously injured while his brother Muhammad Umar died because of injuries. While PTM bring to the notice of public the landmines victims in demand to clear the area, Pakistan security agencies kill, torture, and abduct PTM activists. Collective punishment in the Kharqamar massacre. It's the Pakistan Army killed 14 people. I am going to tell you something about this incident. Pashtun has been collectively punished during the decade-long war. Like previous military operations in Pashtun area, on 15 June 2014, Pakistan Army announced another military operation called Operation Zarbul Azab. Residents of the area, this time North Waziristan, were told to evacuate their houses overnight. Over 1 million Pashtun became refugees and left their homes for years just for the sake of peace, which never came. According to Pakistan Army, reports over 3,000 people were killed, but no one knows if they were terrorists or innocent civilians, as they never named or uncovered the identity of those who were killed. On 26 May 2019, PTM leaders and members of parliament Ali Wazir and Mohsin Dawar went to North Waziristan to show solidarity with protesters at Kharqamar area who were protesting against Pakistan Army collective punishment a day earlier. At Kharqamar military checkpost, Pakistan Army personnel opened straight gunfires on peaceful protesters, and as a result, so far 21 people died and over 40 are injured. As Pakistani Army neither allow media nor internet to the area from last 15 years, so whatever reports are released by Army are broadcast on international media. Instead of punishing Army personnel responsible for the incident, Pakistan Army spokesperson issued a statement that MNA Ali Wazir and MNA Mohsin Dawar attacked military checkpost, and as a result, military opened gunfire. Many of the PTM leaders and activists, including MNA Ali Wazir and MNA Mohsin Dawar, are under Pakistan Army arrest without any illegal proceeding. In an article on 2nd June 2019, BBC has uncovered Pakistan's human rights abuses in Pashtun area and wrote about Kharqamar incident. In response to this report, Pakistan Army spokesperson Major General Asif Ghafoor tweeted and claimed that BBC report was a bunch of lies, while BBC responded and said that BBC stand by its report and would like to further investigate the case with Pakistan Army. Pakistan Army has yet not responded to BBC. PTM demand to form a commission to investigate the Kharqamar incident, but Pakistan Army is reluctant to do so, as they have been involved in the pre-planned Kharqamar massacre. The mobile recorded videos now on social media clearly show how peaceful protesters came under Pakistan Army gunfires. Now I am telling about how the PTM activists were killed, especially the PTM leader. He was the member of the Central Committee of the PTM, Arman Looney, Professor Arman Looney. After over 15 military operations in Pashtun areas in a bid to counter terrorism and terrorists, still no one is safe and can be targeted anytime. According to South Asia Terrorism Portal Survey, some 63,891 have died from 2000 to 2019 in a war against terror. Reports suggest that 90% of them are Pashtuns. When activists or general public or even elected members of parliament expose Pakistan security agencies' involvement in terrorist attacks, they are killed the next day. Maulvi Mirajuddin, member of Pakistan National Assembly, delivered speech in May 2010 and exposed Pakistan Army involvement in terrorist attacks in Waziristan, and as a result, he was killed on 20th May 2010. In the last 3 decades, wherever and whenever activists would expose Pakistan Army involvement in terrorist attacks, they would first create an environment of terror and fear by bomb blasts and later target the activists. After PTM leader Professor Arman Looney, a writer and college professor by profession, raised concern over 29 January 2019 bomb blast in Lorelai, which got 9 policemen lives, and called it another conspiracy to wage a war on Pashtuns. He was killed by police officer Ataul Rahman on a bright daylight in front of his colleagues on 2nd February 2019. Pakistan rebellious security agencies did not let his family members to file police case against the killers. After public pressure, Pakistan's Senate resolution in Human Rights Organization condemnation, police case was registered. Now Pakistan's security agencies have started torturing the eyewitnesses of the case. Mr. Abdul Qayyum Uthman Khail, who was one of the main eyewitnesses, was abducted by security agencies on May 17, 2019 and was brutally tortured and threatened to keep him away from the case. But the brave Mr. Uthman Khair was seen protesting again after his discharge from hospital. Truth and Reconciliation Commission. One of the PTM main demands is to form a Truth and Reconciliation Commission for a thorough investigation of the civilian death, suicide attacks, bomb blasts, social and economic destruction of Pashtun areas. Pakistan Army claimed that they have arrested hundreds of terrorists, but to date, no terrorists have been punished. There were 86 Taliban leaders living on Pakistan soil, but only one in 86, 85 were killed by drone attacks. Only one, he died. He got some physical problems and he died. A single Pakistan Army has not killed a single terrorist leader in Pakistan. Even Osama bin Laden, who was living 100 meters away from ISI headquarters in Abbottabad, he was then killed by the Americans. Pakistan Army number of the generals, including General Musharraf, has claimed that they have founded Taliban. It's on the record. Ex-Foreign Affairs Advisor to Prime Minister Sartaj Aziz said in an interview with in March 2016 that Pakistan is housing Afghan Taliban and Haqqani network for the interest of Pakistan. PTM demand to form a commission for a thorough investigation of all army generals and politicians involved in funding and supporting Taliban in various other terror groups. PTM believes that such a commission will bring the real culprits to the court of law and will set a precedent to the coming generations. As concerned constituent, we urge you to publicly condemn the dire human rights abuses committed by the Pakistani Army against the Pashtun people in Pakistan. Within the last few days, the Pakistan Army has misused military force against peaceful protesters, resulting in over 20 deaths and dozens of injuries. In addition to this violence, leaders and members of the peaceful human rights movement, Pashtun Tahaffuz Movement, have been threatened, detained, or killed to intimidate the Pashtun people into silence. During the recent military operation against peaceful protesters, 2 members of the Pakistani parliament and prominent PTM leader Ali Wazir and Mohsin Dawar were placed under arrest by the Pakistan Army. The shooting on unarmed peaceful protesters is a grave human rights violation and must be condemned as a crime against humanity. First-hand reports from the ground have indicated that Ali Wazir has suffered injuries during detention and is being denied access to attorneys. Family members are members of international human rights organizations. Mohsin Dawar was also injured in the violence inflicted upon protesters. Just months ago, another PTM leader, Professor Arman Looney, I already said, was brutally beaten to death by military personnel during a peaceful demonstration. To further intimidate PTM protesters from gathering and demanding their basic human rights, curfews have been put into place with no regard to the negative humanitarian effects of villagers not being allowed to obtain food and water. The villagers have been told to vacate their houses or risk starvation and death. This tactic has been used by the Pakistani Army again and again to force Pashtun inhabitants of their homeland and into makeshift camps in the other parts of the countries where they face not only harsh environmental uh, elements, but also disease, illness in famine. The Pakistani army has taken control of home, business, school, colleges, and mineral-rich land to capitalize on Pashtun resources by force. You may ask why this situation halfway across the world is of importance to us here. The answer is clear. The international community has a duty and responsibility to the Pashtun people, given that it was the internationally waged war on terror that provided the Pakistani army with the funds and means necessary to victimize and terrorize its own population. The state of Pakistan has been provided with massive amounts of financial aid to participate in the war on terror by counteracting terrorist organizations in camps based on Pakistan soil. The army used these funds to instead aid those same terrorist groups to further the Pakistani army's influence in neighboring Afghanistan while terrorizing and killing innocent Pashtun villagers to appease international sentiment. While the international community is made to believe that terrorists are being hunted, the terrorists are receiving financing and innocent civilians are being killed and branded as terrorists. Thousands of individuals have disappeared at the hands of the army over the course of the war, never to be heard from again. PTM has brought both evidence that financial and logistic support is being provided to terrorist organizations in Pakistan, and as a result, PTM is now targeted by the military for providing this evidence to the international community. The Pakistani army admits to the legitimacy of the PTM grievances, but insists that it will not be held accountable and that any narrative that paints the army in a negative light will be deemed as a terrorist act. PTM demands are simple and well within the rights afforded to them by the Pakistani Constitution. Formation of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission to investigate and address the grievances, removal of landmines from Pashtun areas that kill and wound thousands of people each year, publicizing of information regarding the whereabouts of missing persons abducted by the army, presentation of detained individual to judicial hearing to determine guilt, retainment of the right to peaceful gatherings and demonstration. We urge you to educate yourself on the human rights abuse being waged by the Pakistan with international funds. There has been not been one incident of violence instigated by PTM. In the Washington Post said that PTM is the most peaceful movement in this world. There has not been one incident of violence instigated by PTM, and yet they are continually provoked, bring attention with violence from the Pakistan army. PTM is determined to continue to engage in non-violent activism to bring attention to the plight of the Pashtun people and the atrocities committed by the Pakistan army. The Pakistan army has used the Pakistani mainstream media as a propaganda machine to ensure that its population and the international community remain clueless to the atrocities committed by the military. They scapegoat by branding them as terrorists or supporters of terrorism. PTM leaders have lost their homes, livelihood, and families at the hands of terrorist groups created and sustained by the Pakistani establishment. They have dedicated their lives to removing the terrorist grip from Pashtun areas. Yet the army accuses them of treason to further justify its inhuman actions in the region. You can find information about PTM and the human rights abuses waged on the Pashtun people in the publications such as the New York Times, the Washington Post, BBC World, the Fos Kran, Al Jazeera, Deutsche Welle, Human Rights Watch, and different organizations. Thank you very much.
How would you respond to the allegations by the Pakistan military that the checkpost in Kharqamar was attacked by the two lawmakers in order to put pressure on the security forces to release the terrorist facilitators? How would you respond to that?
Oh, well, it's quite obvious. Actually, the video, the video which exists and which is made by the social media activists, which were released on the social medias, they clearly show that the army has opened fire when the protesters were even when they already passed the checkpost. When the people, the Ali Wazir, you will see in the video clearly that the two of the MNAs, Ali Wazir and Mohsen Dawat, they were wearing the flower, what it's called, yes, and they were about 100 meters away from the checkpost. And you can clearly see that the army opened fire where the people were going, and how it's clearly obvious in the videos. So you can see it. Thank you very much.
Merci. Oui, je voudrais dire... Je vais dire quelques mots en français. Alors, merci beaucoup. Mon camarade, Monsieur Abed, a expliqué tous les problèmes qu'il y a dans la région. Alors, c'est vrai que l'État terroriste qui est dans la région, c'est le seul État terroriste. Et il y a des mouvements, ça veut dire l'armée pakistanaise, il y a encore le intelligence service qui défend des terroristes, qui organise des terroristes. Il y a des 80, en plus, 80 groupes terroristes qui, dans le territoire pakistanais, ils donnent l'arme, l'argent et toutes les possibilités et facilités pour ces groupes, alors qu'ils envoient au Cachemire, l'Inde, l'Iran et encore Afghanistan. Alors, il n'y a pas d'État islamique. On nommait l'État islamique pakistanais, c'est pas islamique. Et les groupes terroristes qui sont là-bas, se sont tellement organisés et là-bas, ils l'ont en train de étudier les armes, étudier toutes les facilités d'armes. Alors, ce chose que je vais dire, il y a 4 membres de ce fédéralisme, de cette fédérale. Les Pashtuns sont vraiment dans un état vraiment difficile. Et voilà, on est là pour dire que les organisations humaines et l'organisation, notamment le comité européen, nous écoutent et voilà pour résoudre les problèmes. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, mademoiselle.